Myra Mansfield, and I just want to tag on something to what Jack was teaching this morning about how Christians should become involved, or he used the term political engagement, and be involved in the political process of their communities. And I wanted to just share something that happened that I feel like is pretty profound. So back in April, it was the beginning of this new Jewish year. We had Passover, and the first month of the Jewish calendar is Nissan, and a prophecy was given that I wrote down and I taped on the front of my Bible. Now, it was speaking to me as being relevant, but at the time, I did not know how it would pan out. I just knew that in my spirit, it felt important. And what I wrote on this little piece of paper was, from Goshen to a new nation. From the Jewish New Year, Nissan 2024, the prophecy was, miracles are ahead on the path. What the enemy tried to cover will be unveiled like God unveiled the ram for Abraham. Historic change I thought would never happen will now crack the foundation of the past and shift into the kingdom rule for the next 2 years. Now, I wrote that down because it was so significant to me, and it came from Glory of Zion out of Corinth, Texas, Chuck Pierce. And he said, miracles are ahead on the path. What the enemy tried to cover will be unveiled like God unveiled the ram for Abraham. Historic change we thought would have happened already will now crack the foundation of the past and shift into the kingdom rule over the next 2 years. On that day that happened, on the first day of Nisan, the month of Passover, there was a sign in the sky that confirmed this prophecy will happen. The sign in the sky was a solar eclipse. It happened on April 8th of this year. The Bible says in Genesis 1:14, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate the day and the night that will serve as signs for seasons, for days and years. So, one of the things I'm particularly intrigued about with God is this whole idea of time. Because time is created. It is a created force in the earth realm. And it is beyond the control of man. Only God can control time. Only God created time. He will determine when the end of time is in the earth. And He is the only one that can do anything to supersede time, control it, or have any say in how it works out. And that is mysterious to me, because I have learned, and I rely heavily on this book, A Time to Advance, which teaches that God's blessings are embedded in secret places in time. And the more that we can understand time, the more we can find those secret blessings. It reminds me of video games today, because a lot of times you have your main character that you're going through whatever the mission is in the video game, but you have to stop and pick up secret blessings that are hidden places, and you uncover those secret blessings. And I honestly think that video game ideas come from God. And some of them, not the violence and all that stuff that's in them, but that idea of secret blessings that you find along the path. Because time is like that. So I am intrigued to learn as much as I can about how to walk in step with God's timing. And this book teaches that every single month has special timing and secret blessings embedded in every month of every year of our whole lives. And I can't get into all of that right now, but that's the basis that makes me intrigued about the fact that this prophecy came about historic changes coming in the next 2 years, and it will crack the foundation of the past and shift in the kingdom rule. Then there was Genesis 1:14, let there be lights for signs in the sky, signs. So a solar eclipse occurred on the first day of this year, April 8th, 2024. And I looked it up yesterday to just go back and review. I knew it did because I wrote it on the front of my Bible on that little green piece of paper. I wrote, reset, April 8th to 9th, eclipse. And so I went and looked up the eclipse now that we're 9 months past it or whatever. What did they say in Wikipedia about it now that we're past it? They said the solar eclipse of April 8th, also known as the, listen to this, please don't tune me out, I can't lose you right now, this is astounding. Known as the Great North American Eclipse, was a total solar eclipse visible across a band covering parts of North America from Mexico through the contiguous United States into Canada, okay? All the way from the south to the north of North America, the North American continent. Totality occurred only in a limited path across Earth's surface, with this partial solar eclipse visible over a larger surrounding area. During this eclipse, the moon's diameter was 5.5% larger than average. Now, right there, I'm just pause real quick. 5 is the number of grace. We got a 5.5, so we got a double grace right there speaking out of this eclipse. This particular eclipse occurred at the moon's ascending node of orbit. Totality was visible from 6 Mexican states, 15 U.S. states, and 6 Canadian provinces. That was the totality was visible from all those places. Approximately 44 million people live in the path of totality, including 32 million in the U.S., 6 million in Mexico, and 6 million in Canada. An estimated 50 million people experienced the total solar eclipse, and an estimated 652 million people experienced a partial solar eclipse. That is beyond our ability to even understand. The 652 million people experienced this in some degree. The whole population of the United States is about 350 million. This was massive. This sign in the sky, Genesis 1:14 confirms, came after this prophecy about how the foundation of the past will be cracked and the shift into kingdom rule. This was the first total solar eclipse visible from Canada since August 1st, 2008, and the provinces since February 1979. It was the first over Mexico since 1991, and the first over the U.S. since 2017. This is the only solar eclipse in the 21st century with totality visible from all 3 countries. I'm harping on this for a reason about the three different countries. The next one isn't expected until 2033, and the next one after that for the United States is 2044, and the next, similar to the one which just happened, is not until August 2045, with a trajectory from coast to coast. Because of the orbit, position of the moon, closest point of orbit to the Earth the day before, and the angle of the sun, as well as at the time of the greatest solar activity in the sun's 11-year solar cycle. A very bright red point of light was reported near the lowest portion of the sun's disk, like a tent-shaped angular structure. Okay, point out the red and point out the tent. Just because. During the Feast of Tents this year, Feast of Tabernacles, in October, early voting was bringing in massive numbers of red voters for Donald J. Trump. So, this was just a massive sign in the sky that confirmed this prophetic word, that I knew something was special about this prophetic word so much I taped it on the front of my Bible. I didn't just write it in my journal. I literally wrote on a piece of paper, taped it on the front of my Bible to watch and see, because I knew that something was so significant about this. So, we're definitely in a new place. Now, yesterday, when I was typing all this up, I was sitting in the bedroom just on the computer typing all this up to share today, and I walk into the kitchen. I mean, these literally in a few minutes of time, I walk into the kitchen. Jack is watching TV. He's watching Fox News, and a show is on there, and it's called Outnumbered. And one of the people that were on there said this. At the exact moment I heard it, they said, "The foundation is broken because of illegal immigration." And the word foundation caught my attention because I had just was in the process of typing this prophecy that says the foundation of the past. And she says, the foundation is broken because of illegal immigration. And it was like it was all tying together because my ear was open to the prophecy and the signs that confirm and what the Lord might be saying. So here's how I want to wrap all this up. This amazing eclipse was seen over 3 distinct countries in a massive way, bigger than any man could control or have anything to do with. 652 million people. The 3 countries are Mexico, U.S., Canada. Now, here's what's been in the news. What she was talking about, the foundation's broken because of illegal immigration. Do you know that President Trump's not even inaugurated yet, and the man has already become our president? He is already having meetings with world leaders, including the President of Mexico and the President of Canada, over immigration. This person said the foundation is broken because of illegal immigration. The prophecy was that the foundation that was broken from the past will bring us into a correction that will bring kingdom rule. We should be so ecstatic that kingdom rule is coming. Not just political in America. The Prime Minister of Canada flew from Canada to Mar-a-Lago yesterday to meet with President Trump. He isn't even the president officially yet. And Japan called him asking for an appointment. He's been talking to other world leaders. He's not even inaugurated yet, but he should have never left the office. The Mexican president, she's going to get in line. She acts like she's in line with him, but then she tells her people a little bit something different. She's going to get in line because this immigration problem is going to be resolved. And God's going to step into it. Just like Jack was talking about this morning. We need to get involved in our political process because the heart of the king is turned by God. The king's heart is turned left and right, forward, backward, by God. And if we really believe that in Scripture, we have to trust that even when we have a wicked leader set up for a temporary time, that there's a message to the saints by even a wicked leader. There's got to be something there that we need to say, God, why are you doing this? Why did you allow a president who supports perversions to become our president? Why? What are you doing here? We need to always be seeking. What are you doing, God? What are you doing? Because it could be a time of judgment on the saints sometimes. It could be like this situation, now that we can look back in hindsight. What I see is that Biden took the fall for the COVID impact on our economy, and President Trump had set us up. COVID happened. Biden had to take the fall for all of this mess in the economy. Now we get Trump again to straighten it all back out. Maybe that impact on our economy was inevitable. And maybe God let Biden be in there as the scapegoat. Yay! Because now we're in even a better position to have Trump now than maybe if he had been stuck with all this, wrapped up in how to fix the economy for the last years. He wouldn't have the freedom he has now with all these amazing people. The whole country's really behind him. I mean, there's a very small fraction of people that are not behind him. So, I was pretty astounded to notice all these things coming together. I truly believe it is about resolving our border problem, because it is a curse in the Bible. It is a curse for your borders to be broken down. In the Old Testament, when your walls were broken down, think about Nehemiah and Ezra and all of those people. When the walls of Jerusalem were broken down, it was a curse. So we are going to rebuild our walls in America. We're going to reestablish our borders. We're going to enforce our borders. People just need to come in legally. That's the only issue. It's not about we don't want foreigners here. And that's just a lie that people try to perpetrate on us. We just want people to come in rightfully and legally through a right process. So that's all I have to say. I just wanted to share that pretty astounding prophecy and how the eclipse literally prophesied from Mexico through the U.S. into Canada. The sun prophesied as a sign, and now it's happening. Those countries are aligning for border restoration.